Already know me. My name is Maria Marrugat. I work in EIT Urban Mobility. I've been leading the citizen engagement activities for the past 4 years, and since this January, I'm leading the EIT Community NEB. And today we are presenting the Enhance NEB call that it was published around 10 days ago, and it's open until the 22nd of April. So today, I'm going to give the general information about the call, and my colleague Anne is going to give more details on how to apply using the NetSuite platform. And at the end, we have a Q&A session. Okay, I think at this stage you already know what is the European Bauhaus and what do we do in the EIT Community NEB. Just to mention that you are towards the end of the journey. This call is to scale up those projects that have been deployed within the Connect NEB and Co-create NEB calls during 2023 and 2024, and give them the opportunity to scale up and replicate elsewhere through the Enhance NEB call. So basically, who can apply is already listed in the Annex 1, and they are those partners that have been in charge of Connect and Co-create NEB projects that were implemented in 2023 and 2024, and which hasn't yet funded by a previous Enhanced NEB call. As before, as Co-create calls, we need to have a consortia of minimum of 2 entities and maximum of 4. But what's the novelty here in this call is the role, potential role of the city. So what we have seen before is that cities sometimes are interested in the projects, but are not so keen on having, on receiving EIT funding or on bringing co-funding. Therefore, we have introduced this potential role for the cities as observant. So they are those cities who are interested with the project, and therefore they like this project to happen in their municipality, but they don't wish to have an active role, a task in the project. So they don't want to have a budget, whether it's receiving or bringing co-funding. Therefore, they can participate as observant. I have to say that this role of the city would not count towards the minimum requirement of 2 partners for consortia. So in this case, if the city is an observant, you at least would need another 2 entities to form a consortia. Then if the city aims to have an active role in the project, they can receive EIT funding if they are if it's a city that it's listed in the Annex 1. If it's a new city and it's not listed in the Annex 1, they cannot receive EIT funding, but in that case, they will have to bring co-funding, because the definition for us of an active partner in a consortia, it means that they either bring co-funding or receive funding. I like to stop here because it's a very important point of the call. It's eligibility criteria. If you don't comply with that, you wouldn't pass the first screen of eligibility. So if any of you have a question on that, you can ask now. Is that clear? Okay. I take silence as a... Oh, Simone. Yeah, go on.
Hi, Maria. I have a little question. Is it possible for a regional park to be a partner? Not city, not a region, but a regional park or a province?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. This call is for EIT Community NEB partners. Therefore, if they are not in the Annex 1, the only entities that they would be eligible for the call that are not in the Annex 1 would be new cities, region, or affiliated entities. So if this park can prove that they are affiliated to a city and they are there in the role of a city because you want to develop your project in their park, then yes, it would count. Yeah, I see Anne nodding, so that's good. Any other questions? So we can move to the next slide. Okay, the scope of the activities, as you know, it will continue addressing one or more of the NEB challenges. I'm not going to name them because you know them well. And then all of the activities must achieve at least one of the expected outcomes. So outcome A is to amplify and complete the project's impact in the same location. And how they do that is by further developing co-creation methodologies and or broadening target groups, so to ensure a more holistic and sustainable approach. Outcome B would be to amplify the impact, going beyond the former site and finding a new location to replicate the project. Then all proposals must meet at least one of the expected outputs. Just so you know, well, remember, outputs are those activities that we do to achieve the outcomes. And so we'd like you to either provide products and services, including rapid prototyping, co-design of public space, or social activation and non-labeled education and training activities. And just to remember, all the outputs we are aiming to influence the local policy strategy, because what we want is to have ecosystemic change that lasts on the ground. KPIs. For this goal, you need to achieve a minimum of 2 KPIs, being HT 8.1, participants in non-level education and training, minimum of 25 people. This is a must. Then one of the rest. Okay, and yeah, I'm not going to explain them because they are the same as the previous goals. Project duration, I know it's tight. But what happens is that our business plan finishes in December 2025, and we need all activities to be completed by 30th of November. So that means that the project will last 7 months, be having 2 reports, an intermediate one by 30th of September, and counting that the activities would finish on the 30th of November, you would submit the final report on the 5th of December. And that is because we need to read them and make another report that overlooks and brings all the learnings from all the activities before Christmas. So that's why we cannot push it further. Funding allocation, we're going to select 4 projects of 45,000 of EIT grant per each project, and you'd be requested to co-fund 20% of this total. And so that means that if your project is 70K, EIT funding would still be 45,000. You have a higher co-funding rate. Financial sustainability mechanism. We know that in some calls, this is a must. In here, it's not a must, but it's a says. So what we want is to achieve, as we said, we want to achieve change that lasts on the ground. Therefore, we want to see how do you plan this activity to continue with beyond our funding. And therefore, we ask you to describe how do you intend to carry out the project, what is it, finding another streams of funding, or maybe data exploitation, or so on. Then a proposal submission is going to be through NetSuite. And the letter of intent is only for those cities who are observant. So because they will not be part of the partnership of the consortia, they will not be in our system as a partner. They don't have to register, but yet still they need to send us a letter of intent expressing why this project is relevant for them. And all proposals are expected to include like why this is important to scale up this project, to replicate, who would benefit, how to shift the goals, and by whom. So very important that the partners that you include in your consortia are relevant for the project. So to prove that they are relevant, each of them need to have a task, a role, and a budget assigned. You need to define a very good engagement plan, and that targets a specific audience. This is linked to the social demand. Why do you target these social groups? Because they are needed of the solution that you are proposing. A description of performance metrics needs to be provided, and again, making emphasis on the 3 NEB core values. Again, potential economic impact beyond this project. That is, again, as I have mentioned before. So yeah. You have to prove as well that you are using an approved public realm infrastructure that or public space that can be improved through the NEB approach, or your proposal is referencing an approved official local strategic document. And within the call manual, there are several examples of those strategic documents. It can be any of that are relevant for the municipality. Okay, Anne, I think that's your...
Yeah. Sure. Thank you very much, Maria. Good morning, everyone. I'm Anne-Laure Aslanian from the Program Management Office. So I'm going to give you the call calendar, the timeline, all the steps moving forward. The call was launched on the 10th of March. It will be open until the 22nd of April at 5 in the afternoon, CET, and proposal will need to be submitted in NetSuite. This is a new platform that we started to implement 6 months ago, more or less. So this is why I'm taking the time to explain you the steps. We also have a guidelines for applicants available on the call website that you can go through the step, but this is very important. It's not anymore in Plaza this time. After the deadline, we will go through, as always, admissibility and eligibility check. It will be done right after. We start the quality evaluation of the proposal. It will be a very speed process because we know, as Maria said, the project needs to run in a very short period of time. So we will be quick as possible. Communication of result beginning of May, so project can start as early as possible in May. Mid-May, most likely, will be the goal until the end of November. And here you have the link of the call website where you can find call manual, guidelines, as I said, and any other supporting document that you might find interesting to prepare your proposal. I'm going to take control. Yeah, I'm taking control, so it's easier. Thank you.
Sure.
As you know, admissibility and eligibility check. This is the very first step where we check your proposal to see if it can go, if it's admissible and eligible to pass to the next step. So we look into the completeness. Your proposal was submitted on time, before the deadline, in English, by the lead partner in NetSuite, etc. The registration of the applicants. Every single partner needs to be registered in NetSuite. I will explain this later, but this is very important. Eligibility of the applicants, of course, they need to come from the list. That's Annex 1, which is in the call manual. Potentially having a city within the consortium. So take a crucial look at the section 2 of the call manual, where everything is actually section 2 and 4, where everything is explained. Eligibility of the consortium composition, again from 2 to 4, as Maria said. Letter of intent. This is something that is not a must, but it is mandatory in case a city is a new city is participating, and the co-funding rate, which is the 20%. Afterwards, whenever this is done and we check your proposal is eligible, admissible, we go through. We go through the next step, which is the quality evaluation. There is a delay, sorry, I don't know why, but okay. Expert evaluators will be asked to assess your proposals, and we are using the same criteria as before. In Connect, Co-create, it's always the same. Excellence, impact, and implementation. They will look into that, and here you have the points next to each sections. The total points, it's 50 points. They will produce a summary evaluation report, and you will receive it at the end of the process as usual. It's one per proposal. If your proposal pass, and I think before this, yes, Maria will explain in details of all the criteria, so you really understand what this is about, how you will need to write your proposal, and what evaluators will assess. They will have this grid of criteria, and they will put a note next to it. So I give you the floor to you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne. So yeah, as you're well familiar now, all the proposals are the selection criteria is arranged as Horizon Europe. So in excellence, we have proposals that achieve and activities are smart. And then we also value that they integrate the NEB values throughout the whole process, from the challenge definition to the proposed solution. And then it's very important, and as I mentioned before, that you make a reference on the strategic importance of your proposal, on why this project is relevant for the city, how they are linked to their strategic objectives. And then it's also important that it needs to be important for the strategic policies of the city municipality, but also have to be relevant for the people. So why did you select these two target groups to be your target audience? So how this proposal is going to benefit them. So, and if we go to the next slide, because yeah, in impact. So yes, you'd have to give a detailed, tailored end user engagement plan. Again, it's not enough to define why did you target this audience, but also how are you gonna have bespoke engaging plan to them, to each of them. It can be different, obviously. And then how are you going to disseminate the results of your project? Because communication, we see it as key also for the long sustainability of your project. And then in terms of the outcomes, you need to define the metrics that you're going to measure your activity success, and they have to be specific to the NEB values. Sustainability, inclusivity, and aesthetic, they all need their specific metrics. And yes, please pay attention on the aesthetic value, because it's often overlooked. And then again, as I mentioned before, we're not asking as eligibility criteria that your proposal has to be financially sustainable, but we do want them to be having long-lasting effects on the ground. Therefore, we ask you to draft how do you potentially ensure the durability of the project beyond the grant, whether it's finding other streams of funding or exploitation of data or whatever. So if you don't foresee this, your proposal will still be eligible, but it means that in here you then get a 5, you get a 0, and you still are eligible for the rest. And the last one is here is the score is 0 to 5. Yeah. Oh, Simone.
Sorry, we want to ask a clarification on what do you mean with the potential economic impact? Because we were thinking about improving the quality of green urban areas. So we might think to some ecosystemic economic values. But if you can clarify what's your view, your perspective for potential economic impact would be...
Yeah, and for instance, potential economic impact to ensure the future durability of the project beyond the grant. So for instance, if you think greening areas would potentially enhance the business activity of some service of the area. Maybe you can already involve or draft a plan to involve the local business into the project. Therefore, they are already part of it, and it could help to continue beyond. Yeah. Sponsoring potentially in the future. I mean, I know now it's not no time to make all these alliances, but it's just to see a view of how you'd engage with the local ecosystem to ensure that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So the implementation quality and efficiency. Proposed budget is clear, in line with the structured work plan, considering the task, deliverables, outputs, and outcomes. So basically, the budget has to make sense in terms of why each partner is having that amount and what they are doing. So both are equally balanced. And the proposal presents a risk mitigation plan that's always requested and describes the management structure of the team to ensure that the project can be delivered. Again, we're not asking you here to submit CVs, but still tell us how big is the team, what are the roles, how do you work, and so on. I think that's it from my side.
Yes, I move on.
Yes.
So thanks. So this is, as we said, I will explain later, this will be translated into the application form. So you will have dedicated section in the application form, of course, form that you will need to complete in order to meet all these criteria. Whenever the quality evaluation is over, as we said, project up to 4 projects with at least 30 points, which is a threshold, will be potentially funded, okay? Maximum of 45K. The selected project might receive a list of conditions to improve their proposals. Not always the case, but could be. In this case, it's going to be in a very short period of time, so be ready in case when we send a communication at the beginning of May to be very, very proactive and reactive and follow the steps we will communicate to you as early as possible so the project can start. And at the end, of course, whenever this step is done, if there are conditions, we look into the conditions, how you improve your proposal as requested, and we go through the final selections. And of course, then the onboarding and the contracting phase can begin. And the project is starting, okay? Of course, if that's the case, you will be guided. We will send you all the steps, especially because this time we are working in a new platform, so it's going to be a little bit different. Good. So, interested in applying? Let's go through the steps. Again, deadline 22nd of April at 5, and as you know already, when it's 5 o'clock. The system will block the submission at that time. That day, so really be careful about that and start your draft proposal and do your submission before the deadline, ideally even before the day of the deadline. The very first step is to have a PIC number. Most of you, because you're already partners and you already submitted a proposal to the NEB initiatives, you have a PIC number, but this is true when we have a new city, for instance, joining. And this city is a full partner, so not an observer, but a full partner. In this case, they need to have a PIC number. So this is the step number 1, just to go through the link and do the 5 minutes work about registration in the platform and get the PIC validated. Why it's important? Because without step 1, you can't continue to step 2. Obvious, but it's very important. Step 2 is the partner information form. So it's the same form that we used to get in Plaza. Okay, it's similar, it's the same content. Visually, it might be a little bit different, but what is in the PIF, it will be the first information is to register your PIC number. So this is one of the first mandatory fields you need to complete, okay? These steps about you submit your PIF and we validate your PIF can take 2 working days. So we really strongly recommend you to do this as early as possible. even starting from today, if you're interested in applying, even though you're not interested to apply, but at some point you might use the NetSuite tool, it's good that you do it. In a few hours, you will receive an automatic email with the logins and your credentials to enter the platform. If it's not the case, you can contact the service desk, okay? It's not explained here, but if in case you were already, it's explained in the guidelines, sorry. If you were already a partner and you already submitted a proposal in Plaza, which is the case of most of you actually, you can directly ask the service desk to ask the credential. Actually, they will give you access directly, and you will be able to have direct access to NetSuite easily, let's say, or quicker. Once you have access to NetSuite, you go through your login with your credential and you access the platform, and here you have the link. You find all the open calls under the menu, call for proposals and open calls, okay? Well, in this case, sorry, it's a partner call, but anyway, you will see the list and you will see NEB partner call available. And this is what I'm going to show you now in live. I'm going to show you how to actually submit a proposal to the platform. So this is why you will see call for proposal under the menu, call for proposal, open call, and you will see the list of running calls at that moment. You just need to click on apply. And now I'm showing up the next steps in live. Just a second. I'm showing you. Yes. You should be able to see my screen now, right? Yes? Yeah. Okay. Oops, sorry. I move on. Here we are. So this time I've already created a proposal. This is actually why it's under my CFP. CFP basically means proposal, okay? But in any case, if you go under, as I said, call for proposal, open call, you will see the list of calls under my application. This is the draft proposal that I have created right now. I open the link here, and this is the application form online. It takes just a few seconds to download, and then it appears. And this is the application form. You will see it's composed of different tabs here, okay? With different type of information. The main information is the ID of your proposal, which is automatically given to your proposal when you start drafting, when you create a proposal for the first time. And of course, this must be done by the lead partner. Okay, so you create and the system assign you an ID. You select the main changes addressed by your proposal using the drop-down list here. Look at the call manual again and what Maria explained to you earlier. You select which one is the most closer to your proposal, and the second one, if there is a need. I mean, it's not mandatory, but you might also address another challenge here. You identify the most selected outcome, either A or B. You also identify the selected output, 1, 2, or 3. Again, read carefully the call manual. Everything is explained here. You put a project title, and you always have the maximum character to guide you. The project acronym, when the project starts and when it ends. So remember, it's 30th of November. Most likely it's going to be 15th of May. The start date, total budget, EIT funding, outcome funding is automatically filled in by the system. Okay, so this is why they are in gray. Whenever you finalize your budget, these are the final values you will see. Your executive summary, it's basically a summary of your project that will be potentially published if your project is selected for dissemination communication purposes. So also be straight to the point, don't use any confidential or sensitive information, and you write here the summary. And then the list of keywords, very easy. You move from one keyword to another. You can select from a predefined list, okay? As I see, you can remove, you can add. It's a minimum of 3, maximum of 5, and free self-defined keywords. Here you're completely up. It's up to you to put whatever you feel appropriated according to your project. Save as a draft. There is no automatic save, so you always need to go back to scroll up and click on the Save as a Draft button. It always takes a few seconds, as you can see. But and then you see changes saved here. And you move on. You, as a lead partner, you have already automatically be included in the application form, as you can see here. And imagine you want to add at least a second, because it's mandatory to have at least two partners. What you need to put here is the PIC number, not the name, because otherwise, if you start typing the name, you will see the data is not working. So you need to ask your collaborators, your partners to provide the PIC number. You can always also it's not ideal, but you can always look into the link of the commission that I shared before and see if the partner has a validated PIC as a PIC number. But to make sure you pick up the correct one, it's better to ask them anyway. You put the 9 digital here, and then you explain what is the partner description, what they're going to do, what are the expertise. They have to carry out the tasks in the project. And here you can remove if you made a mistake, or you can change the data, etc. Explain if there is a direct link between participants in the current yes or no. If it's a yes, you explain what are the links between the different participants, and you can add co-editors to the proposals. So it's very good when you are several people working and each of you is maybe divided, or take care of one part, one tab, and other ones. But it might be also complicated and tricky to work at the same time, saving the data at the same time. So be careful when you grant access to the core to other people from your organization, from the partners. Make sure it's always also better for the lead partner to do the submission. So the partner will ask the lead partner main contact person to do the submission, really to make sure this done, everything is done when it's final, because there is one single possibility to do the submission. When the submission is done, it's done, and you can't go back to it. Okay. So you continue with project scope, and here I'll remember the criteria that Maria showed to you, and they are here translated into sections. Okay, so the main objective, under excellence, the relevance for society, alignment, strategic alignment, the NEB alignments, the impact, so here the user engagement plan, gender, diversity, communication and dissemination, the performance metrics, very important as well, potential durability. It's as we said, it's not a must, but it's in the system it is. So if it's not applicable, you just put an not applicable, or you put an explanation next to it. Project management structure. Here you explain the role of your team members, what they're going to do, the expertise, etc. And then the risk. And here the risk is just a table. You're filling in the table by the type of risk, the title, the risk, is it very low, low, moderate, the risk impact, the description, and the mitigation. And the ethics and security is most likely you won't have any, but if that's the case, potentially you click on yes, you select from the list which one is a potential risk, and you explain. And of course you save. So you see, it's very straightforward, but when it comes to the work plan, it's very well organized. I will say it's just, you need to understand a bit how it works. So the work plan is divided in work packages. Within the work packages, we have deliverables, okay? And remember that this call has 2 mandatory deliverables, one interim and one at the end, the final one. You can add potentially others, but for this very short project, we don't necessarily ask you to send us other deliverables. It's up to you, but be straightforward and straight to the point for this type of project. So when you create a work package, this is what you will see. You click and you put your work package name, a description here about what you're going to do, the task within the work package, when it starts, when it finished, and who is the work package leader. Very important, you need to create under work package contributor, you need to put again the work package leader. And then if the second, the third, or the fourth partner is also contributing to this work package, you put the name here. Okay, these come from the previous tab, partner information. So of course, first they need to be in the system, and they need to be in the proposal. And then the role of the partner. Why is so important to have here the list of the partners? Because this will trigger the budget tab. Okay, if you don't put, for instance, here this partner, we won't see any budget. We won't see the name of this partner under the budget tab. Okay, so that's actually the order. First, you complete the work plan. You put where the partners contributed to all each work package. This means they will have a budget associated to it. Okay. So remember, I remove it, which means we won't see the budget, this partner in the budget tab. I will show you later. And then you have the the deliverables. Okay, so here we have already one deliverable, and I want another one because I need a second one. For instance, my project has only one work package, which most likely won't be the case, but imagine you have two work packages. You organize your deliverables as you wish. At least two must be included, so it's going to be deliverable 2. You explain the description. You put when you're going to have it achieved, and you save. Okay, and you continue with the following work package as you wish. Output milestones. The work has the same as the risk, so it's a table. It's not a big deal. It's just you go through the output, description, name, achievement, responsible partner contributor. You save and you move on with the milestones. You do the same. With the KPI section, I need to explain you something because you see all of them here, all are listed. Okay, remember that 8.1 is mandatory. Okay, so you need for sure by I mean, it is mandatory to actually put the target value at least 25 participants. In this case, the achievement will be the end of the project, and you put who is responsible to deliver, and you save. What happened, for instance, if this KPI is not, I'm not contributing to this KPI number 2. This is an example, of course. This will be still listed in by the system. Okay, so even though you click on delete, it's a trick, but it doesn't work actually. So when you will be able to do the submission, it will say there is a mistake. You need to complete this KPI. So the trick that we do is actually, I need to explain in the guidelines. No worries. Sorry. So you see deleted, cancelled, but well, yeah, no, deleted, but the deletion doesn't work. So what you need to do is to open the KPI, put as an explanation, for instance, not applicable. You put 0. You still need to put an achievement date. You still need to put a responsible and a contributor. I know it's a little bit, strange, but this is how the system works for now. Okay, and you continue with the list. Either you contribute, you put in this case a value, or not, you put a 0 and not applicable, right? You save. I'm almost finished. You will see the budget is just something I need to explain as well. And then we move on. Supporting documents. The letter is only mandatory if, as we said, if it's applicable. So look into the guidelines and look into the call manual, and you send the signed letter of intent if it's needed. You might potentially also want to add some annexes. Figures, graphic photos, it's really up to you. It's not a must, but you in this case, you upload here to send the file from your computer. And the total budget. So here you will start having a summary of all the different work packages you have created per category of cost and per partner. Here, remember, I have created only one work package. This is why I see only one here. And if you click, it's, collapse or expand, depending. And remember, I remove one of the partners. So this is why I see only one budget here, easy. But of course, you might need to have 2 partners, and again, they need to have budget. So you will see at least 2 partners and 2 different lines here in tables. You need to put as a personal. So remember, we use the same cost category as Horizon Europe, the same as Connect and Co-create. You follow the same rules. Employee, I'm going to put a number here, and what we need, in addition to the cost, we need an explanation. Okay, so it's really important to be self-explanatory. So to explain, I'm going to use this personal cost to do this and that, and it's going to be for a senior, a middle, or a junior manager. You explain what this is about. So you continue subcontracting. If you have any subcontracting, you also put the value of the subcontracting, the same for the travel, etc., etc. Okay. What is new here, the system, is that you put a percentage of funding. You don't put a figure, round number. So you say, for instance, you remember it's 20% co-fund, 80% co-funding. So here you're going to put 80, and of course, automatically, the system say you need to reach 100%. This is why I need to put 20 here. In terms of co-funding, we don't ask you an explanation, but we would like to understand if the co-funding comes from your partner on funding, or if it comes from regional, national funding, other private, etc. So you decide from which. You can also divide 10 and 10 here, for instance. It's a bit up to you. And the 20%, it's across the project. Okay, so one partner can give 30%, the other 10. It's fine as long as the total is 20. And you save. All right. When you will do the submit, I will show you. Of course, you will see here a list of a lot of missing points, right? Project name is required, all the list. So this is potentially the error message you might see whenever you, before you do the submission. This is why, of course, here I haven't filled in everything. This is why, but remember the KPI field. Every section needs to be filled in. The description of the budget needs to be completed. And of course, all the project scope field. So you can always do a print as well if you want to share with applicants, or, you know, save it just for you. This is something possible, and you will see it like this. Okay, so that's all. I stop here. I'll go back to the presentation, and then we can have some Q&A.
Thank you, Anne-Laure.
Thank you. I think I just have one. Yeah, just one final slide. I think is just, you know, kind of tips and tricks. It take a bit of time. Sorry. Okay, I think I will go directly to the. Does it work? Yes. Can you see it? Can you see my screen? No?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. Perfect. Right. So the guidelines for applicants are available on the call website, so read them. I mean, they are basically screenshots of the presentation of today, so you can follow the steps. You can, of course, watch the webinar if you have any doubt, and of course, reach out to PMO, to us, if you have any doubt regarding NetSuite, the registration. I have a problem with my application. I don't know what to do. Don't wait the end. That's very important because the platform is new for you, most of you, I suppose. If you don't know how you know how it works, or you have a technical issue at the last minute, we might not be able to help you if it's very last minute. So really prepare your draft first, register in the platform, prepare your draft, and remember you have only one option, one time to submit your proposal. Okay, so don't wait until the end. When your proposal is submitted, it won't be able to make any changes any longer, so not even to update your submitted version. So make sure when you do the submission, it's really the final one. Okay, I just leave this to you, and we can take some questions. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So we have already answered some questions and also in the chat, but oh, okay. Hi, we're interested to know if it's possible to receive a certain financial amount before the start of the project itself. If yes, we are interested in how much.
Okay.
I think that's
I can
only
take it.
applicable to SMEs, right, Anne?
Yes, exactly. So if you are considered as an SME, small and medium-sized enterprise, you can receive a pre-financing of up to 20% of your EIT funding allocated. Okay, that's the rule of our EIT funding project.
So if there is a consortia, only the budget of that partner, which is SME, the 20% of the budget allocated to that SME would be advanced as
will be distributed. Yes, exactly. Remember that we send payments to each and single partner. It's not like, in other European funding project where this is the task of the coordinator that receive the money and distribute it. Remember that now that's not the case here. We pay each and single partner from the consortium. This is also why we also recommend you to have a consortium agreement, although it's really up to you, maybe not mandatory in this short project, but it's also up to you to then organize yourself in terms of task responsibilities. Maybe if you decide to change the payment distributions, we need to know this, of course, before we make the payments. Otherwise, the rule in any case, you need to be an SME to receive the pre-financing, 20%. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Simone.
Yes, Simone.
Yeah, we have another question regarding the co-financing. Is this related to workload by municipalities, or should be real money to fund?
No, so we don't ask cash money, let's say. It's not like you need to pay, because in addition to that, there is no membership fee. So it's not cash money that we ask for. It's just to showcase you have resources in-house, either through private grant or your own funding or your other European grant that you bring in order to be able to achieve your project.
Or even personnel, personnel that it's not paid through the EIT funding, that you're paying from your own accounts, that can count as co-funding as well.
Exactly.
They can. You were saying that
yes, they do.
Can. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They do.
Great. Thank you.
Imagine it's very typical in a public organization, university, or the people involved are paid by the organization already, and of course you're not asking again the personnel grant to cover the personnel cost of this person. So this might be a co-funding example in this case. Okay.
Thank you. Great.
Thanks. Any other questions? Otherwise, you can reach out to us by email. Our emails are in the call manual. Yeah, okay, someone is typing. Hi, so we can pay in cash only from the account. We have a slightly different situation in Ukraine, and most of it is in cash.
No, so I don't know what you mean about do we pay cash, but if you have cost, imagine you need to organize an event, you need to pay some materials, to travel, etc. Everything needs to be with invoice. Of course, this doesn't mean, so give you an example. If you travel and you take a taxi, for instance, and you pay cash, because in the taxi you might be able to pay cash, you need an invoice. So what is important is you are able to justify every cost you put to your project, okay? Every cost you have. So, and it needs to be registered in your accounting system, again, to be eligible. So we are not going to do an audit of your project, most likely not, but the finance department might ask you to provide evidence of your cost. And potentially, if your project is selected, the European Commission auditors, external auditors might come and say, can you show me your cost? Can you show me evidence that you were using this money to do this and that? This needs to be first accounted in your accounting system, and second, need to have evidence that this has happened. Okay? So
So yeah, they say that when they pay in cash, they'll have their invoices and accountability in order, that it's okay.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Problem.
Any further questions? Otherwise, we'll close it here. Okay, I think thanks for we can say thanks for attending this info session. As we said, please bear in mind not to leave to the last minute to submit or to start registering in the platform. Give yourself time. There is always things that go wrong, especially with NetSuite, because it's a new platform and there might be sometimes, things that they don't go as planned. So please allow yourself a lot of time and reach out to us if in case there is any problem. And good luck, and we're looking forward to reading your proposals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your proposals.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.